Guys, welcome on in. It is officially rivalry week here in the college football season. And holy moly, we got a lot of good games. And, okay, question, leave it down below. Is this the greatest weekend of college football, or is it the first week of college football where you have 5 straight days, where you have a lot of non-con games, a lot of big games? I would venture to say the rivalry week is by far the best. It looks like Quinn agrees. Everybody likes rivalry week. Every team has a rival, and that's what makes it great. This is inclusive of all teams, no matter if your team sucks or if they're good. If you beat your rival, that's a big deal. And we're going to get started right here on one of the bigger ones of the weekend, the Egg Bowl here on Friday at 11 o'clock. We've got Ole Miss traveling to Mississippi State. Looks like Ole Miss comes in as a 7.5 point favorite with a 78% chance to win the game, according to ESPN. Who wants to go first here? I don't care.
Yeah, go for it, Chase.
Yeah. It's going to be a simple one for me, Quinn. I'll let you have more of the fun on this one. For me, roster-wise, Mississippi State lacks so much compared to Ole Miss. Let's just get it out of the way. Ole Miss is by far the tougher team, the better team, the more sound team, offensively, defensively, have the schemes. Jeff Lebby and the Bulldogs are still trying to figure out how to win ball games. And hey, don't get me wrong, I've been a huge Bulldog fan all season long because of how scrappy and gritty this team is, but they're still learning how to win, and they're still learning how to finish those kind of games. And they just haven't been able to do it this season. But where is your head at if you're a Rebel? So much swirling with your head coach, so much swirling with what's going to happen after the season. This is the biggest game of the year. All socks are off on this one. Toss the gloves out, toss the rankings out, the over-unders, the who could win, the money line, whatever. Toss it all out. Honestly, you can play virtually. It really don't like this is like it doesn't matter the stadiums, it doesn't none of it matters anymore. It is rivalry weekend. Everybody brings their best ball. You can be 1-11, you could be a perfect 12-0. It doesn't matter. Biggest thing is mentality-wise, how does Ole Miss walk into this game? I think Ole Miss walks into this game extremely shaky. I think that even though they have the roster and talent way far superior than the Bulldogs, I think they're going to come out really, really rough in this game. While I'd love to pick the Bulldogs, I think the Rebels somehow pull this one out. I think it's by less than a touchdown. When?
Look, everyone knows how I feel about like the best rivalry, right? I think there's three that live in their own tier. That is Red River, Iron Bowl, and the game, right? Those three live in their own little universe of elite college football rivalries. But if you had to ask me, what are three rivalries that aren't in that list that are just filled with the most animosity and rage and just pure hatred? Backyard Brawl at West Virginia, Holy War, BYU, Utah. And at the top of that list for is the Egg Bowl. This is a annual thing in my household. We get together and we watch what's usually what growing up, it was the two doormats of the SEC West in little old Mississippi where no one cared to be, just beating the living crap out of each other because they couldn't stand one another. It is so much fun. The only thing that's usually on the line of the Egg Bowl is pure pride. I mean, I would say out of all the Egg Bowls I've watched, the vast majority of the time, it's like a 5-6 win team versus another 5-6 win team. Like, that's just kind of where we are at. I love this game. Take all those like mantras about throw records out, none of them. It really applies in the Egg Bowl. I think there was like a 3 or 4 year stretch in the mid 2010s where there was an upset every single year in the Egg Bowl. Like the higher ranked, better record team lost every single time. Chase, will you lean back for me real quick? You see that, Ole Miss fans? I guarantee you Lane Kiffin's thinking about that. I know Lane Kiffin's son's thinking about that. I bet them Ole Miss players are thinking about that. You know what them people in the stands, drunk as crap, ringing them cowbells, and them players wearing maroon on the sideline are thinking about? They're thinking about beating the ever living crap out of you. That's the only thing they're thinking about. Mississippi State's beating Ole Miss. I'm calling it right now. Ole Miss doesn't need this game to get in the playoff, more than likely. There's a chance. There's a chance they could fall out, but there's a high likelihood that Ole Miss gets in the playoff, win or lose. Their chances of going to Atlanta are near zero, right? I think their path to Atlanta is A&M has to lose to Texas and Alabama has to lose the Iron Bowl. That's probably not happening. This is Mississippi State's whole season, man. Give me the Bulldogs. I think we're going to get some crazy. Look, they've had 3 games at home in the SEC. They got absolutely dog walked by Georgia. That is what it is. They took Texas and Tennessee both to the wire. They got to win an SEC game at home for these folks in Starkville. And what better conference game to get your one home conference win on than taking those pissy, prissy douchebags from Oxford, Mississippi, down into the actual real countryside of Mississippi, beating them up, sending them back home black and blued, and then the next day they find out that their savior Lane Kiffin is gone to their other rival LSU. Give me Mississippi State.
So all week, all you've heard is that Lane Kiffin says that there is no distractions on the team. He's met with the team, and it's like, how? That's impossible. It's impossible for it not to be a distraction in the world that we live in with social media. Like, I know as soon as they click open X or Instagram or whatever, that's all they see is the Lane Kiffin stuff. And you cannot tell me otherwise. And so for him to just say that and lie, listen, he has to say that as a coach because that's where his head needs to be.
Freddie, he ain't leaving unless it's in a Pinewood box.
Yeah, sure. No. This game, so the thing about Mississippi State is in those games you mentioned, Quinn, the Texas, the Tennessees, the earlier games in the season where they were competitive and close, their defense played pretty well. Now they gave up some points. However, they were able to make stops when need be to be able to keep the games competitive and close. We have not seen that. We have not seen that in the second half of this season so far since those games. I look at the Georgia game specifically because that was just their defense did not even look like they knew what they were doing on the field. Now, you're right. This is an absolutely insane rivalry game. Mississippi State has nothing to lose in this game. Ole Miss has everything to lose. Listen, if Ole Miss loses this game and Lane Kiffin decides to leave, they're not making the playoffs. They've already said that they take head coaching into account when ranking the teams in the college football playoff. So if he's out as the head coach and will not coach in the playoffs, they're not getting in. I mean, just like the Jordan Travis situation, you have an injury at quarterback, head coach applies as well. I think even more to me. So I would not have a problem with that whatsoever if he decides to dip and they do not make the playoffs. That's beside the point. I agree with Chase here. I mean, Ole Miss is winning every single facet of this game: offense, defense, special teams, roster, coaching, everything about this point's Ole Miss. And even with the distractions, I think they get it done. I think it would be a really fun upset because of the Lane Kiffin situation. So I'm going to be rooting for that. However, in the professional prediction, I'm going to go Ole Miss to actually win the game.
Hey, okay, well, what if Mississippi State breaks out those 2014 gold helmets?
They lose by 40.
Hey, they'll look good doing it, though.
Hey, they won the Egg Bowl in those things, man. That's what I'm saying. That
Chase is not a
Prescott
fan.
coming out party. Or sorry, I think it was 2013, actually.
Chase is not a fan. I can tell.